Alright then, sorry about that. We were having some technical difficulties and I was trying to get it up and running during this game here. So basically what I'm doing here is that I am trying to focus only on discard reading for this game, and that's kind of a weird thing to do. A lot of times I spend a lot of time looking at my hand, and one of my mentors did point that out recently. So we're trying kind of the exact opposite right now. We only look at our hand on our turn, and the rest of the time we're paying attention to discards and trying to read what's going on. So player to our left looks like they could be on a half flush here. That's a weird one too. So that leaves us kind of some weird options, unfortunately. There's not too much we can really do about it per se, but I'm kind of going for the 3 concealed triplets, but so that's a weird drop. Okay, no, this is fine. Yeah. So unfortunately I'm not going to be able to reach this one, and the reason for that is I can see all 4 of the 1 pin, so the only out left is the 4 pin. So that's, I wonder if I could still reach it though, because this 5-6 makes the 4 look a lot safer. But at the moment I'm okay with just dumbing and seeing if anything really dangerous starts to happen. With us being up in points just a bit here, it's not the end of the world if we deal in, but it's still something we'd like to avoid if possible. Now the player across from us did already dom a 1 hand, so they're someone we have to watch out for. They're still discarding from within the hand, which is a good sign that maybe they're not Tenpai yet. But our discards recently have been pretty safe too. So discarding the Suji tile to what was just discarded is good, as far as safety goes anyway. They are discarding a lot of tiles from their hand though, and geez, I have to go for this, right? Yeah, the 6s are live, the 3s are live. It's fine. If we self-draw it, it's an absolutely massive hand, but we'll continue watching other people's discards anyway here. So nothing else really happening. Looks like the player to our right is immediately folding. So that's kind of an understandable position. If they start dealing in here, they're going to be fighting for 4th, which is not somewhere you want to be on online Mahjong. But they don't have a very safe hand. They did discard Suji instead. Player across from us looks like they may also be folding. Player to our left is hard to say so far, so we'll keep an eye on that one. And the 9 could still go either way. They could be Tenpai and just getting lucky with their draws and discards or all sorts of things right now. Yeah, it looks like we're not going to get it, but that's okay. Oh, so they're actually going to try for the Tenpai right at the end here. Looks like they probably got it, yeah. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, decent hand here. Oh, that's a weird discard to start out. So that's going to be something to pay attention to because we're not sure exactly what that means. It could mean a half flush, it could mean an outside hand. That's most likely a half flush though. Unfortunately, we don't know the suit just yet. We know one suit that it isn't, but not what suit it is. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that and try to understand exactly when they're reaching Tenpai. Now, this 8 doesn't necessarily mean that they're not in Pinzu. It could be just an obscene hand, which is why they'd call the guest wind first. But I think we're okay for now. We're going to assume it's the Manzu and go ahead and drop our Manzu now. It's better to do it now than later, and the 1 isn't really going to be in a shape that we want to have at the end of the game anyway. And with us having 4 pairs as well as pair the Dora, we have a pretty strong hand starting here. I think same theory with this one. I'll go ahead and discard that. Just try to get rid of it here because Manzu don't look good anywhere. So the more safe tiles I have later, if needed, the better. That's a weird one. So it looks like it is going to be a Tenhou from the player to our left, and now we have to start worrying about the dealer. So Northwind is safe because they already have him discarded, but I really don't want to discard any extra Manzu tiles anymore if I can help it. Now they don't necessarily have to be Honitsu here, they could just be kind of feigning it. If that's the case, then more power to them. You know, I'm more than happy to let them have that if they got that. Yeah, there it is. I knew that White Dragon wasn't going to be safe too, but hold on to it, no big problem there. We'll keep moving on. Oh, another 2 Dora, lots of pairs hands, finding a lot of those right now. So here we see the Northwind come out, a little weird, 5 pairs. Okay, so sorry, I'm getting caught on my own hand again. That's exactly what I'm trying not to do right now. So we're going to just discard pretty normally here. This could switch into a 7 pairs soon, but everyone else is discarding pretty normally as well. We see the white dragons follow my white dragon discard, which is pretty normal. A lot of times people start to cut it when it's, you know, not live anymore. So based on the discards, I might have some time to really try to push value on this hand. Yeah, so with that much time, I'm not sure what the best route is to go. We just have to watch for everyone else though. Okay, so 6 kind of being the first central tile discard and kind of a normal one. Probably just a random floating tile that they had, nothing to really indicate one direction or another. The lower Manzu could be safe unless they're waiting specifically on 2-5. So we'll have to see if that's what they have. Anytime you see the 1-6, the 2-5 is going to be a little bit less safe. It's marginal. It's not a huge difference, but it is a difference nonetheless. So keep an eye out for that, and hopefully we'll be able to keep these 5s in hand here. We are going to try to open this hand because with how slow everyone else is going, I think it's going to make sense to try to push things as quickly as possible, just to try to avoid anyone else getting really big hands going, especially with the value that our hand's currently at. If we hit the player to our left with a Mangan hand, we take the win, which is obviously what we want to do. So the hand value that we have now is enough for that. All right, and here we go.
Gee.
So I'm just playing the less safe version right now. I'm not seeing anything that's super dangerous out there just yet.
Gee.
So we're going to go ahead and take this Tenpai and see what we can find out. So 9-pin discard, nothing too scary just yet from the player to our right. Player across is on a Honitsu once again by the look of it. So this 2-5 is going to be harder to find, unfortunately. We are still taking the risk of dealing in at this point. We don't see any overflow tiles from them just yet, and that 4-so came out from within the hand. So that means so that means it's less likely to be close to 10-5 for half flush, but the 7 dealt in, and it was Suji to the player to our left, but not much I can really do about that. Had to push that hand there, I think. Okay, so normal discards so far. Yeah, so normal around the table for once for the first discard. Nothing too worrisome. Dora being the 3-mon, we'll have to kind of see what happens from there. The 6-mon early discard is interesting. So they're discarding the Dora Suji right away for some reason. And that reason could be, once again, a half flush. I don't know why I continue to be surprised by that. So it looks like it's going to be a Pinzu half flush over there, but I've been wrong before. So we'll see if the player to our right picks up on that and tries to cut back on some of the Pinzu discards, or if they just kind of go full speed forward. Okay, Dora tile discard from within the hand. So that pretty much confirms that it's a half flush, and they're probably getting close. They're probably getting close to being Tenpai if they're not there already. I still generally try to wait for the overflow tiles on the half flush like this. Yeah, especially when they're discarding like this still. Ooh, so that's a good draw. We'll go ahead and take this one. So unfortunately, these 2 Dora already came out. It's not really the best situation to be in. But we have some outs still. Ooh. Okay, so player to our left, that's their first central tile discard, so it's really hard to tell what they could or couldn't have. Really no read in that hand, unfortunately. If you're going to fold against that sort of thing, you got to play some super safe tiles usually. But it is what it is. Not too much we can do about it once we've reached. If we are to deal in here, and it's a reasonable sized hand, then we'd be in a little bit of trouble. But we get the reach Sumo Dora right away here. So decent spot to be in, 3,800 up or away from the player across from us. And the 3-mon is the Dora once again. If we get a Mangan Sumo, we end the game, or if we direct hit the player to our left for pretty much anything. Okay, so normal discards around the table again. The East Wind coming out first, and then the West Wind is kind of interesting for the player to our right. Sometimes that would indicate that they're going after a Pinfu hand. It's really hard to say just from one discard like that, though. At an Epon table like this, it's possible it was just an inefficiency with their discards. Because generally you don't want to kill the valued wins first if you have one in hand. You want to wait to see if you draw a pair of them. Alright, still just normal discards here pretty much. Nothing I can really see that looks too fishy. Alright then. Yeah, it looks like everyone has a lot of honors and terminals to get rid of. So we are looking like the fastest hand so far. Player to our left is potentially right behind us with a pair of Dora though. So the reason I look at pair of Dora is that discarding the Dora indicator like that usually means either your hand is very far away from that, very far advanced, or you have a pair of Dora that you're not going to need that tile for. So obviously a lot of those situations are bad for us. So we'll have to keep a close eye and see if they draw the Tenpai at some point here. Alright, so that's an interesting discard. I'm not sure. This could be a half flush. It's weird that the East Wind came out that late. Unless they are Dama on a Tenpai hand. But that would be an insane hand if that's the case. They'd have some really good discards there, which, don't get me wrong, is possible, but it's just a little bit unlikely, especially with how desperate we expect this player to be playing so far. Player across from us, lots of central tile discards so far, but no Manzu. So it could be, once again, a half flush of some kind. A little bit weird discards early on for the half flush, but still possible. Player to our right not drawing pretty much anything good. That's interesting, but I'll pass on it. So with the North Wind coming out, that tells us a little bit more about their hand at least. They're not necessarily going to have a super valuable hand, but with the Dora pair, like I was talking about, it is possible that they can scale up there pretty quickly. So ideally we try to discard a little bit safely here. I'm worried about the Tenpai off the pawn, but I think it's unlikely. Just given the fact that it's just one pawn and they don't have a ton of central tile discards yet. So there we go. So now it's very reasonable they could be Tenpai. That late 2 coming out though. So the late 2 makes me think that their shape might be near the Dora. The fact that they cheat into it is kind of telling, because their shape was 2-5-7 from the hand, and they could have other Manzu tiles around there. And I think it's pretty likely that they do, so their weight is probably in the lower Manzu. Could be 1-4, it could be pair of Dora and pair of something else. So we're going to go ahead and fold this one away and give the player their no-10, what's the word? Ryokoku penalty payment instead. I don't want to risk stealing into this. It just seems a little bit too dangerous to me. Yeah, so it's probably going to be a hard fold here. Alright. Unfortunately, we're kind of hitting that point where it's hard to discard safely. At least as safely as I would like to. Unfortunately, our hand was a little bit advanced for where we're at. Okay, so... Alright, there's another one I didn't read. It's just a Itsu Dora. They really like their Dama hands, but that's definitely a hand that you do Dama with. Not much that we could have done to read that one, I don't think. There's not much that I'm seeing here anyway. Alright, so now everyone's discarding normally once again. So we'll kind of follow that lead. Interesting, so 2 into 2, this could be an indication of 7 pairs, but I don't want to, you know, say it's 100% 7 pairs right now. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. Okay. Oh, so that draw, what do we do with that? Go ahead and drop this with the intention of going an open Tenhou. Oh, jeez. Never mind. So 3-5 discard. That's an interesting shape. Yeah, I kind of agree with the assessment. The 2 looks decent here. I don't necessarily agree with the 1 looking decent here. I really want to push this though. This is the problem with the only thing about your hand on your turn, but yeah, okay. I got greedy. And I did that on the Epot's turn too. Shoot. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. There wasn't much I could have read from the discards there, so for the purpose of the exercise we're doing, it's not really helpful one way or another. But it is what it is. Alright, so normal discards so far. And we will also discard pretty normally with this hand, I think. Alright, so that's a very early central tile discard, so their hand is either advanced or potential half flush, or could be a couple other things as well. Okay, so another central tile discard, so kind of the same thing for the player across from us. Could be a pretty advanced hand to start out. So our hand looks like it could be slower than everyone else's, so we have to watch out for that and kind of keep some safe tiles behind. Luckily, that hand made it pretty easy with these pair of west winds. We can hold on to the pair, kind of use them in our hand if we draw what we need, but at the same time, we can back off and discard them as safe tiles if we need to. I will discard a little bit unsafe with this red dragon. It's very possible someone's going to pawn it, yeah. So they're likely on a half flush once again. So we're seeing a lot of potential half flushes come out from our player across the table here. And that half flush based on discards would be in the Sozu. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that now. And the Dora discard here too. What is going on? So this set of discards doesn't really make sense to me. And it's starting to worry me a little bit. See, a lot of these hands are starting to look real dangerous here. We might just have to start discarding safely relatively soon here, which is going to be newer or sooner than I would like to. How's it going, Miss Wellesley? Or however you say that name. I'm sure I probably butchered that. Okay, so 9-pin just passed, so that should be pretty safe here. But I think we're out of this hand. We really don't want to risk dealing into a Dama hand or anything like that right now, because that puts us real close to the last place here. Especially if it's a dealer Dama. Yeah, so there's the advanced hand that I was worried about, and player across from us could be folding. But we are going to go ahead and drop safely here. These are the last two green dragons. Okay. So what are we really looking at? Okay, there's the Dama, or not quite Dama, but quick open hand. Alright. Okay, so 2 Mon Dora here. We have a lot of Monzu Dora this time around. Normal discard from the dealer. Player to our left, really thinking about that first discard. That's kind of odd. Okay, so normal discards all around the table, pretty much. Pause on the 4 Mon, so that's something you don't necessarily want to read too much. From what I've seen anyway, and I'm not sure if there's official literature on this anyway, Tenhou kind of injects pauses into the game on certain key tiles, especially honor tiles. It could just be latency on my end or something, but it is kind of an indicator that, or a lack of an indicator, so to speak, because you can't necessarily depend on the discard being someone waiting on the call for one reason or another. Okay. I don't want to discard Dora into this, mainly because the dealer is only really going to be expensive with Dora, based on their discard so far. Interesting. So they could easily be on an outside hand of some kind, which would make this north wind a little bit more dangerous, but I don't think we're at the point where we're folding yet. And the terminal tiles passing from the player to our right is a good sign. They probably don't have a 2-3 waiting on a 1, because they would have cheated that tile, so they're not going to be Furitan with this, I don't think. Yeah, I'm going to have to remember to go back and see if we can figure out what Shima's on, and that's a very big warning sign there. I'm going to follow suit here. Really because I'm just very concerned about this hand. Like, it could have a bunch of red 5s in it, it could just be a Chanta Sanshoku, but that's still 5,800 points. So we don't want to have to deal into that. This 1 is pretty safe for the reasons I mentioned before. So south 1, we'll have to see what Shima Cha was on.
Beach.
Oh, that's bad timing, but good discard. So we have the 8, looks pretty safe, but it could still deal into the player across from us. The 4 would be pretty safe, and that's really bad for us. So they're starting to gain a little bit of momentum here. We have a pair of our seat round wind. All right. So pretty weird first discard. So there's something weird going on at everyone else's hand. Okay, fantastic. So central tile followed up by an honor. That's a weird one, especially a live honor. And they do the same thing, and they're likely on a half flush. All right then. So wow, what is this person doing? The Shimachas had a lot of weird discards. So I don't know what to make of all of the discards we're seeing right now. What's this one? Okay, so discarding a 5/7 shape. So their hand, once again, I've said this a couple times, is either advanced or it's half flush. I think those are really the only 2 options. And there is a pause on that terminal tile. Again, that's not a super safe read to make or anything like that. But it is very possible that they're on the Honitsu here. I will take this. I don't know if that's right. I need to spend more time looking at my hand at some point here. Pair of honors though, but that was a Sumagiri tile. So not really an indicator one way or the other on anything. Okay. Better shape for our hand now. So safe tiles. So these are all looking pretty safe against everyone. We want to keep that around. So we're going to make the 6s our pair. And we're going to discard this. Now, it looks a little bit weird, but I do want to have the 7 around in case the player to our right reaches or anything like that. So that's the main reason I'm doing that. I don't want to have to discard the 7 too early. If the dealer reaches, ooh, that's actually pretty good, I think. Yeah, so we can do this instead. So this gives us the option of holding this tile. There it is. So this early 6 makes this 8 look a lot safer, but this 2 isn't safe. So we're going to have to pass 2 unsafe tiles. I'd rather just go ahead and start with this. The early 6 could just be a straight up trap too. If they manage to basically heal up the exercise when I accidentally started the stream with my mic muted, and they were already in the game, that'd be pretty impressive. Okay, so that's good for us. We can pretty much play freely here. It's going to be real hard for player to our left to catch up. So what that means is it's time for some Yamagoshi. So I'm going to try to target the 2 players here if it's at all possible. It's kind of a low percentage chance here, but it is still possible. If we can start drawing Dora or something like that, we can still make up the difference here. I will go ahead and take the pass 10 though. So we'll do that. We want to keep the tile next to the door, so we'll take a little bit of an efficiency hit there. Alright. So nothing too weird just yet. Again, player to our left probably going for something weird. They kind of have to at this point though. They need to directly hit us with a Mangan or better to be able to catch up here. Sumo Hanuman also works. Yeah. So they have to go for something big one way or another. Granted, at this level it's possible they don't know how to do that. Don't want to speak too ill of the people in Nippon. There's a lot of good players down here. But it is something that you have to keep in mind. You know, sometimes players are just doing things. And this is one of the big reasons I did this. So this indicates that both players are trying to shut out a fast hand, which, you know, once again, can't really blame them for anything. Ooh. So that cuts off the Dora, which makes things a little bit safer when comparing the player to our left. I'm okay with dealing into one of these fast hands. Like, no matter what it is, it's going to be not enough for me to lose. So worst case scenario, I end in 3rd. No harm, no foul. I will go ahead and drop this. It looks dangerous with that 4 discard, but they don't take it. So they probably completed the set there, and they discard a 3-so. So they might have something near that 3-so that they just improved or completed. So It's near the 3, so I'm still discarding normally here. Maybe I wanted to hold on to that a little bit more, but it looks like I'm going to have decent tiles, and it doesn't matter. Okay, so one real unfortunate discard there, but let's go back and check what was happening in South 1 real quick. Okay. Was it this hand? No, that was the one I dealt into. This was the one that we were wondering about. So player to our right. Wow, what were they doing? Okay, so it's an early trap. So, well, sort of trap anyway. A lot of times here you just take the more efficient route. So you don't really want the extra pair necessarily. Yeah, okay, it's defensible. Like, I understand why that 5 came out. It's still a weird one, though. Okay, and then they improve in that direction. See, and this is why you don't do this, because now you have 3 pairs in your hand, and it's really awkward. But it did work out for him. They ended up drawing that, then having to cut off the Dora. Ugh. I just hate how this person played this. I think that's the real problem. I wouldn't cut the Dora off there, because that's pretty much all the value your hand has at that point. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's do another one. Okay, so decent player, already broke an 1800 rating to our right here. So we'll look to them to be the normal discard. Okay, Dora, once again, a lot of Manzu Doras tonight. We got 4 pairs, and we got a normal discard from our dealer. Okay, so all normal so far. Good. Okay. Nothing too much to read into just yet. And it's all pretty normal. White dragon follows white dragon, so that could indicate they have more honors in their hand. But we wouldn't expect a red dragon here, I don't think. Well, we could actually. Yeah, with the way things worked out, it could still be a red dragon in hand. Alright, so 2 and then 9. So they have a shape near the 9, almost certainly. Otherwise, there'd be no reason to discard that order. We will go ahead and drop the dangerous tiles first here. Our hand isn't really looking valuable enough to really, you know, encourage holding on to those floating center tiles. That's a great draw, though. Okay, so we'll go 6 blocks here. Okay, Snowgiri, no problem there. Alright, so pretty normal around the table so far. I will go ahead and do that with my hand right now. Again, getting rid of the dangerous central tiles, keeping something a little bit safer if things start heating up, because everyone looks like they could have nice concealed hands here. Not seeing any indication that anyone wants to open their hand at all. That's okay. So we have a bunch of safe tiles against the dealer if we need them. We will still probably reach this hand if it comes down to it. So someone was really tanking on that one. Could be the player to our right. You discard the 2, you could have a 4-5 left over. So not sure if that's what happened, but we'll have to keep that pause in mind because that one was a little bit suspicious. 5 coming out though, so it'd have to be a complex shape including that. We will just go and reach this one. And let's keep reading. Okay, so Northwind coming out, they had a safe tile held back in hand. So that's kind of a common thing they see online a lot more than in real life or an ARML league or different things like that. 8-pin is a safe tile, so these 2 are likely folding. And looks like everyone's folding around the table. So that's okay for us. With newer players, we might trick someone into dealing in with the 4 and 6 discards and all that, but again, not really the point of what we're doing right now. Okay, so the 7 is one of the ones that could be a push. So So we have safe tiles into 7. So obviously with that being a, I'm blanking on the term, Suji tile, that's something, but so that 2 came out. That's interesting. I'm not sure why that would have happened, because it looked like everything else they were doing was pretty safe. I missed talking about the 1 though. So they were pursuing something. Alright. So with a pursuit like that from a higher ranked player, they could have been like waiting on one of my safe tiles, hoping someone else would deal into it. There's a few different things that could happen there. And 2 Dora though. Ooh, 5 discard. So big warning flag over there. We will discard towards Tenhou. I do kind of want to hold on to the 9 a little bit though. So 3 discard. Wow, what is going on here? Alright, we are not going Tenhou. So 5 and then 2, set of their wind. We usually indicate a flush. Oh, do we take this? Yeah, we do. The only reason for that is we kind of want to snipe people trying to slide a Dora. So if they have 4, 5, 6, draw the 7, they want to slide that up and discard the 4. But early on like this, you reach, you know, Dora Kanchan. I have Dora 2 Kanchan. So pretty, or sorry, Dora 3. I can't count. Yeah, so none of these discards are safe yet, which is kind of expected. This early of a reach, a lot of times people contest it. So we're not really sure what people are planning on doing just yet off this. Okay, so player to our right might be pushing. Player to our across from us looks like they're folding. Trying to fold anyway. Obviously, like I said, it's a little bit difficult here. Now, one problem with this is, you know, with it being Dora Suji, it's also Dora Suji, right? So people are less likely to want to try to go that route. But at the same time, it is a half Suji tile with this 1 discard here. 2 so is safe because they discarded it earlier. This is a very dangerous tile. So we're going to assume that they are... Oh no, sorry, it's not dangerous, it's Suji. Losing track of things when I reach this early. It's hard to track everyone else's discards all at the same time after this reach, while talking about it anyway. Okay, so 8 pin. Again, this looks like it's going to be a fold across the table then. I can appreciate that. No one calls the Dora. That's good. The 5 was unsafe, but it is Nakasuji. So that's something at least. So probably a fold, but they're all over the place. Discarding Southwind this late, that's weird. So I'm not sure if they drew down to a pair. No, they're just folding. Okay. So that's fair. 1 player down. I expect to see a white dragon come out here. From someone anyway. Someone had to have been holding them. No, I guess not. Oh, there it is. Okay. So yeah, as I suspected, someone holding them makes a lot of sense. You don't see any honors on the table. You don't discard it. So Suji means, I have a couple videos on it if you want to go back and check them. But basically the tile is the other side of a set. So if I have 4, 5, 6 here, if I just had 4, 5, the 3 and 6 are Suji to each other. So if I have a 6 in my discards, the 3 is Suji, which means it's safer because I can't have a 4, 5 and be waiting on it. I know I kind of went through that quickly, but does that make sense? All right. So it's one of those sort of half-measure defensive tools. There's not too much to do about it, but sorry about that. Alright, so we will keep going now. Sorry about that. The automatic vacuums are lovely, but they are very loud when they go to empty. Okay, awesome. Yeah, even though I'm doing this exercise, everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm happy to take a moment to answer any questions you guys might have. Okay, so with the 1 cut, East wind will do that. This 5 discard is very early here. I think that might be indicating a set close to the 5, so a 2-3 or a 7-8, most likely. It could be indicating a half flush though, because the East coming out late after 2 discards. It means they were trying to hold on to it for one reason or another. And that's going to block off the Dora. So Dora's going to be harder to use. Very hard to use now. Ugh, hate that. Okay. So, player to our right has some very strange discards. Because obviously, just from the discards, we assume it's going to be a half flush, but that can't be the case because there's a call there. So it's actually pretty likely that they're already Tenpai, or they... Oh no, they're going for Toy Toy. Okay, either Toy Toy or they need these South Winds. Or Red Dragon. So that's the... Those are the most likely cases right now. Yeah, because you don't keep the one so in hand for that long unless you have some reason to keep it. Generally for Toy Toy you want to discard tiles towards the inside because outside ones are easier sets to complete. People are more likely to discard them so you can call them. So that means that our outside tiles theoretically are more dangerous than our inside ones right now. So we'll still keep pushing a little bit here. If we see tiles that have been cut by just about anyone, it makes them pretty safe. So for example, this 2 is pretty safe right now, unless they are just on an all symbols hand, in which case it's not going to be super valuable anyway in most cases. This 8 is not safe at all though. So we will go ahead and drop the 2 here.
Kang.
Ooh, that is a nightmare. So they don't have the pair of south winds, so the south should be safer, but they could still be on a Tunky weight. So it's not 100% safe by any means, and I think I'm at the point where I want to fold. I don't want to discard the 6 because it could be the Nakatsuji trap with the 3-9 right there. So we're just going to relax a little bit here. Oh, jeez. But I'm running out of safe tiles very quickly. Okay, so completely safe is out. We'll have to do the Nakatsuji. I didn't want to, but I'm not sure what else to do there. Okay, so now the 5 safe. 5 safe, 8 safe. 8 was already decent with that out there. This 5 is safe against more people though. Ah, set of red dragons, there it is. Okay, so our folding timing was pretty good there. We chose a good time to really start bailing. I think they were just straight up Tenpai at that point. So that's not a bad outcome. So I never like just playing against bots. Now, obviously, I've been playing for, what, 14 years now? Something like that. But at the same time, bots aren't skilled enough in general to give you a decent challenge. So if you're trying to learn basic Yaku still, you still want some kind of pushback generally. So what I actually recommend, and I know this isn't the most interesting thing ever, is instead of trying to learn the Yaku in-game, actually take the time to study the Yaku outside of the game. That way, like even just familiarity with them is going to be very important to just being able to recognize it in your hand. So that's kind of the route that I would go if you're still at the point that you're trying to learn Yaku. Alright, so trying to quickly kick our contender for first off the dealership here. And that's good. Okay, so we're trying to go as quickly as possible because it looks like everyone else has a pretty slow hand. We still see honors and terminals coming out, except for maybe the player to our left. So that's kind of the decision making behind that. And the third call will obviously be a big warning sign if anyone is paying attention, which they probably are. There we go for the Tenpai. So now if the dealer starts to look dangerous, we're waiting on one of their safe tiles. So that's good news for us if people start to try to fold into it. It's also good news if they draw another one, they're very likely to discard it. Now our discards look like it could be a half flush on the Manzu, but no one's paying attention to that, so nothing to worry about from anyone else there. Awesome. Okay. There we go.
Done.
So just a quick little hand, boosts us back into first real quick, and keeps him from making any big dealer hands and getting out of reach. So when you see people discarding very normally like that, a lot of times it is going to push towards that later, you know, dangerous hand with a reach, two-dora, different things like that. So that's when I really like opening up the hand and trying to push it early if you have the hand to do that. Obviously, you can still get burned on it. You can, you know, just have people reach on you, and then you have no safe tiles left in hand. But I like the aggressive play, so to speak. The aggressive defensive play, if that makes sense. But as normal, some pretty normal discards right now. Nothing to really indicate someone going for Chitoitsu yet. Yeah. Okay, so very normal discards. Almost too normal, but that's not really a thing. Some pause on that too. Again, doesn't really mean too much. It could be my computer lagging, it could be injected wait time there, it could be anything. That's a good draw though. We'll go a little bit greedy. So keeping this around just because we could end up with the double run there. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That was probably wrong actually. Probably better to discard the 4-pin there. That's what I get for doing these exercises. Okay. Late east wind. What does that mean? So they dropped their safe tile potentially out of their hand. They could be Dama on something right now. So we're kind of gonna, I don't want to call it half folding, but trying to stay on the safer side of discards, so to speak. I pretty much always play South games. So this is not the last hand.
Sumo.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's good. I don't know if I read it strongly enough to really discard what I needed to, though. So reading the quick tempi is good there. That's kind of what this exercise is about. Discard it safely from there, but the 9 really could have burned me on a Chitoitsu hand like that. But I don't think that it was possible to read the Chitoitsu off those discards. Just thinking back into what there was. Okay. But yeah, the main reason I play South games, well, one, I'm streaming right now, you know, I'm trying to get longer games in anyway, but I don't like the variance of shorter games. So if you think about it, if you have less hands, then those bigger hands are too big of an impact almost, because the original games, I think the original games were actually 4 rounds, but with 2 following shortly thereafter, a lot of the hand values are balanced around that. So I don't want to play a game where 1 Mangan is enough to win the game necessarily. Okay. So relatively normal discards, a little bit weird over here. I believe this 8-pin was Sumo Giri though, so they just drew it and discarded it. 6 coming out is starting to look a little bit odd. And then White Dragon is still normal over here. Long pause on this one though. That's not a Tenhou injected pause. Someone's thinking about whether they want to con it, maybe?
Home.
No, just a pawn. Okay. So why did they think for that long on that? A lot of times as dealer, you just want to go for that sort of thing. What could they have? So it's looking like it's a Manzu half flush on their discards right now, which is why I discarded that early. Yeah, so this red dragon is concerning, and that is very concerning. So now can we push into this? The 2 is safe. And that's a dangerous discard from that opponent, so we have 2 people looking very dangerous. So I'm just going to go ahead and discard as safely as possible, I think. Okay, Suji takes care of us. Takes care of it for us. And there's the red dragon. Okay, so I was a little bit concerned about that because the player across from us here. With that switch up out of hand, this could be dangerous still. So we may want to hold on to it, but I think it's fine still. Okay. So player to our left looks like they are pushing. So we want to watch out for their hand as well. Long pause on that one again.
Con.
Really thinking that this one's a Honitsu. A con into the reach even. Oh, we really don't want to deal in here. The 3-pin is going to be safer than the 9-mon here. This one is Suji, and it's a terminal Suji, so that's a really safe tile, but not 100% safe. So we're sticking 100% safe so far. Better to discard this one here. So we took the opportunity basically where player across from us couldn't roll enough this tile to get rid of that one, because these other tiles over here are going to be safer later on down the line, like the 8-pin and 6-pin. We'll just go complete safe here, I think. And the reason for that, I don't know the exact state that the player to our left is in, because they had some weird mix of folding and pushing early on. So I'm not exactly sure where they're at. So we'll go ahead and do that here. Yeah, we could be the only one not Tenpai here.
Chi.
As we get the opportunity for Tenpai. I don't think I take this though. We will drop the 2.
Sumo.
Okay. Yeah, definitely a good choice. Pretty happy with that decision. Doesn't spike any Urador though. Okay, so point situation, we're about a Mangan behind on things. Alright. Normal discards so far. And we're in South, so the South discard killing the double wind early makes sense. If they have guest winds come out afterwards, it could mean something. We'll have to wait and see. Early discard of a tile near the Dora, which is a little bit odd, but not out of the question. Especially on that side of the door. If it was like a 4 or something, I'd be very concerned. Alright, so our hand's progressing pretty nicely here. And we are going to just keep discarding normal as well. Just kind of following suit with the table. We do have 1 Dora. Don't want a Dora Tonki if I can help it. I will keep this white dragon around for now. And this is something that I see players do on like high-level Japanese leagues all the time. They really hoard these dragon tiles if their hand doesn't have a ton of value just yet. And I think the reason for it is just to avoid other people pushing easily. So if someone else is building their hand, trying to figure out what to do, then they lose one option by us holding on to this, but we're at the point where it doesn't make sense to hold on to it. Still want to complete some kind of shape here, but don't want to focus on that. So lots of terminal and honor discards from these 2 players. Not too much we can read off that. I should have probably taken that. Oh, maybe not. It's a decent draw. Okay. South. Okay. Wow, so lots of terminal and honor discards. Dora Tonki. I'm going to wait a turn. I don't like waiting a turn, but I will. Okay, so there's a dangerous discard from him. So this is an indication that their hand could be advancing. So if I am going to reach, now's the time. And I think I am going to reach it because I'm greedy.
Reach.
Okay, so they held back their safe tile. Again, seeing that a few times in these hands so far. And we didn't give people too many safe tiles. We can see the 8 was already discarded by them, the 7 was already discarded by them. That's really sad, but it is what it is. So interesting, that 9-pin discard could go either way. This makes the Dora Suji, which, again, don't trust it ever. Dora Suji is not safe. But someone might fall for it still. Player across from us might be trying to sort of half pseudo-fold. It's kind of a weird combination of things going on over there. They might just have a few more 2s in their hand. A couple more 2s, that is. That would make their discards make a lot more sense. But that is a straight-up safe tile. There's the win.
Dom.
Nice. So the player in last did it. It's kind of a desperate move, but we're okay with that. One thing I will say, like some situations you want to discard like this 9 first, because we have 6, 7, 9, right? But it usually doesn't make sense to do that over guessed wins, because it kind of is a weird indicator later on that you valued this terminal less than a guessed win. What it indicates is something else entirely, but I like to discard very normally like this. So a Sumogiri Reach doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad weight. It could also just be a cheap hand. There's a few different reasons to Sumogiri Reach, and a lot of them I don't like, but it kind of depends on the situation. So one thing you can do that my mentor was kind of talking to me about a little bit at one point, probably a couple months ago now. If someone else reaches at the table when you're tenpai and you want to chase them, if it's the player to my left that's reaching, it can make sense to wait around. So like I choose not to reach, stay Dama here, let them discard, just to get an idea of how they're reacting to that reach. Because if they continue to push and your hand is relatively cheap, it's kind of like borderline if you want to go after them or not. Then it lets you know, okay, well, if both these people are pushing, I really don't want to push this hand. Or if neither of these people are pushing, it might make a little more sense too. So different things to watch out for. But what is going on? Okay. So we're doing that because we have the Itsu chance over here. It's not the highest efficiency ever. That's a Dora. I'm not paying attention to things right now, at least not my hand, so that makes sense. Okay. The 1-mon. So that's a late 1-mon coming out. Shoot. Yeah, we're going to take the Tenhou. Feels bad too after that Dora discard, but it is what it is. So 1-mon late after originally discarding the 8 should, in theory anyway, mean that they have a shape near the 1. So this 2 is pretty unsafe, but I don't know if they're tenpai or not. So usually you don't want to wait to reach to add to value. The main reason for that is, like, let's say it's a Sanshoku or something, you know, the 2, 3, 4 in each suit. So if you have to slide one shape over in order to hit that, then you have the same, well, depends on your weight. You have either the same or less tiles to improve your hand than you do to just go ahead and take the reach anyway. So that way you get the sumo, the reach, if you draw your win instead. So usually it's going to be more efficient to go ahead and reach instead of waiting for value. If you are going to try to wait for a better weight or for more value or different things like that, usually you just don't take the tenpai. So you discard off different things, especially with no Yaku reaches. And that way you can open up more efficiency options for your hand. That seems worth it. I'm not paying attention to discards enough right now, though, because I should have known if that was a big risk or not, and I didn't. At least not off the top of my head. This late in the game, that was probably just a bad discard straight up, based on what I'm seeing right now. I'm the only one who's discarded Dora and all that. It looks like everyone... Jeez. So the 5 just passed. We have 1, 2 in the discards. This is probably okay.
Wrong.
It's not okay. Okay. That's fair. That was greedy. Yeah, especially with that 4 discard right there. That makes a lot of sense. Ugh. Hate it when I play like that. Oh well. That's what I get for not paying enough attention to the discards for a round. Because that 4 was also very unsafe when they discarded it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so 9 then 2. This is a classic indicator of the early half flush. So we'll see if it continues to go that direction. Yes, very possible. So Manzu half flush potentially on a right here. Other 2 players discarding normally. No Dora. Dora. What? Okay, so that doesn't make much sense. But that is a Dora on our left. And they're still going for the half flush on top of that? That feels real greedy. I can't blame him for it. I've done it plenty of times, but... Okay, well, that's safe right now. Possibly we should have held that one back and played even a bit safer. We might just need to be folding right now. Yeah, because that's a lot of our value. So we'll kind of switch things up a little bit here. Oh yeah, and it's not just the explaining. It's, like I said, I'm really not looking at my hand at all until it's my turn. So it definitely makes things a little bit harder. Oh, geez, that's... Ugh. I don't know what this hand is. So, we don't want that. We'll keep these 3s as safe tiles against them. You know, it'd be really cool if I set up an eye tracker for this sort of training, just so everyone can see what I'm looking at and keep me honest if I start looking at my own hand too much. Okay, so 2 coming out. 2's very safe against the player to our left. Doesn't matter. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so they're starting to come back, but they're starting to fall behind. So we still have a decent shot at second here with 1 deal left. So we need 1,600 points. This is a hand that can make 1,600 points. I'm intentionally pausing just for a few seconds here, just to make them think that I'm thinking about the west wind, just for redeal reasons. So right now they could assume that I have a west wind in my hand, but we'll see if they do or not. Or if it even really matters. Just one of those misinformation things I try to do. Yeah. I'll need to look into the eye tracker softwares and see what it takes to set it up. Ooh, that's a great draw. So that makes the hand Pinfu Ipeko only very possible, which we wouldn't want to reach, especially with the dealer looking this dangerous so far. So the 2 central Pinzu tiles early, a dead honor discard. This is...
Each.
I feel like I'm reading half flush on everything right now. And I don't know if that's the way to go or not. Now, this is real awkward. This is probably safe. Yeah, because the 8 came out before the 1. So what that means is the 8 had no tiles next to it, the 1 did. Potentially. But that pause still just made me like cry a little bit inside. Geez, there's nothing safe here. We have to full fold here though. Well, it's not necessarily full fold yet, I guess, but it does not make sense to take the risk of discarding into anyone here. Now, one thing I should have considered is going for the Chitoitsu instead, the 7 pairs, because the 5 was a safe discard, but now it's not, because the player across from us is on that half flush. These green dragons are staying in hand, the 5, all of these Monzu are staying in hand unless the player across from us discards them, or we can follow the player on our left with the discard. The 1s is a fantastic one to open up, thank you very much. So half flush across the table, probably Tenpai. Hard fold here. Potential dealing? Yeah, okay. So, not great. But not bad, not enough. Interesting. So you would have expected them to reach with at least Hanemon value, which would have given us a west extension. I guess they were just hoping to hit the Uridora at that point. Which makes sense. Sometimes that's what you have to do. 30 or 40% to hit the Uridora can be better than other options that you have. So unfortunately, we take another third with this count. But again, placement's not really the most important thing for this one. We'll do at least one more game here. Alright. Rough looking hand. No value really. Discards. Okay. Lots of terminals on the first round. That's fine. Player across from us doesn't need to hold on to any extra honor tiles, but did hold on to a guest wind. Interesting. So it could be Pinfu-ish. Sumogiri and terminal. Okay. Keep the tile near the Dora, not the repetitive 4. That was Sumogiri, so that doesn't tell us anything. 2 doesn't really tell us much. Yeah, there's not too much to read in these discards just yet. The 9 tells us something. They have a shape near the 9. Okay. So we don't have anything that really affects right now. That was Sumogiri, so that doesn't affect anything. But this 8 could be very dangerous later on, so that's something to watch out for.
1
Okay, there it is. And we don't have too many safe tiles here, so we'll do what we can. And there's a safe tile. Okay. Yeah. It's not going to make sense to push into the dealer in this situation, especially not when one of the likely tiles we'd have to discard is this 8 with almost no value in our hand. So, like I said, that 8 is looking pretty dangerous right now. 6 is safe, so that's likely going to be our next discard unless we find something better. Right now the 7 is better, so we'll do the 7. It's only better because they discarded it, so theoretically they could be waiting on the 4. It's unlikely, but it's a line that could happen, so we avoid it at the moment when we can. Again, just kind of
4
following along and trying not to do exactly that. Reach point Dora, reasonable hand. Okay. Abnormal discard. So, why would you discard an 8 early? Could have a 5-6 in hand, could have completely different suits you're going after. The 9 doesn't tell us anything because it was Sumogiri. So it's just consistent that they went ahead and discarded that there. The 1 is also Sumogiri. So this is a weird hand. It doesn't look fast, but it looks expensive. So it can make sense for me to open up my hand and try to counteract it a little bit. Especially if we can have safe tiles in hand. We have 2 safe tiles against the dealer that pretty much aren't going to move under too many circumstances at all. So that gives us some leeway to try and push here. We will go ahead and take that then, I think.
G.
Reason I'm doing the 5-6 is so I can integrate a Dora later still. It does kind of feel bad if we end up drawing the red 5 there instead. But it's fine for now. Now, interestingly... No, it's never mind. I was kind of looking at this 4 and wondering what it could be. But that seems fine right now. Okay, lots of Sumogiri tiles coming out from both of these players. And we'll keep our safe tile all around. Okay. So need the green dragon, or Otozuke for a green dragon. But we look like we could be a half flush, and I am going to pass on that one. So they're still pushing pretty hard. That's folding? That was a pair of south winds that came out. Huh. Why would you discard a pair of south winds here unless you're folding?
1
Okay, so not folding. Decidedly not folding. That's a dangerous push tile. Okay, so we will drop this. I think it's... Oh, no, it should have been east wind first. My bad. So east wind's safe here. Green dragon is not. So our next discards are going to be the 9-so, which looks safe against the board. And we have potentials to draw out still. To Tenpai anyway. There's the Tenpai, but it's frozen. So that's not bad. This 3 is pretty safe here, because we can see all but one of the 2s. And yeah, so he gets that. That gets us out of Furitan, and it's a perfectly safe tile, so we take it here. Interesting. Well, that's a hand. Wow. Alright then. Two north winds to start out everything. I'm going to discard towards a Honitsu here, and we'll see if it comes up. Yeah, it does. So the reason I discarded that 3 instead of the other 3 first, 1, this 3's next to the door, so it makes more sense to hold on to. 2, this disguises your suit longer, so something to keep in mind if you have the opportunity to discard all of your suit that has more first if you're hard committing to holding 2. But unfortunately we kind of stopped drawing it. So we might be away from holding 2 now. I'm focusing on my hand too much again. Remember to yell at me if I start doing that again, Chad. Okay, so lots of Manzu coming out here. We will take this one. I am so greedy. But we're going for it. I don't think this is right, but I wouldn't be greedy, so it's okay. So slow hands over here, weird hands over here, and lots of Sosu discards over here. So this could be a half flush, which could feed us, which could be good. Yeah, immediately punished. That doesn't really help us. That does actually. Never mind. Took me a second to see it. So west wind discard, so that could indicate a fold here. We still have these ones that are pretty safe against the table right now. I really want this 3 though. Now the real question is if I can get a 3, what do I do with it? Do I discard the 9 or the 5? But player to our right looks like they're discarding pretty safely. How did that 8 come out though? I thought they were discarding safely. Evidently not. So we actually have to watch out for this guy still too. There's a 3 again, which just passed, and I kept Sumagiring after that, so it doesn't really indicate much. Why did I do that? That's incorrect. Should have discarded this 2 instead. Most likely anyway. So, again, not paying attention to Dora is kind of a problem. I would not recommend it in your average game. And this 7 looks okay. 7 pin. So what are we looking at? So we see all but 1 of the 3s. So this 2 could be pretty safe, but the 9 is completely safe. Yeah. So with that being safe, we want to hold on to this for a second at least. If we're pushing, it'll make sense to discard that, but there's nothing indicating that the 9 is safe out here. So instead we're going to risk it on this 2 that we were talking about. Good. Yeah, 2 looks pretty safe because it's a 1-shot. Lots of 2s used already. This 5 came out. Oh shoot, I don't have time to count the tiles, so we'll go ahead and drop that. I can't remember if that came out before or after the reach. It should have been after, actually, so it should have been safe to discard. Okay, well, we have safe tiles for the rest of the game though, so it's fine. Waiting on 3-6. Yeah, so I talked about it a little bit before, but the 7-2 discard sort of indicates a 3-6, because it's basically just 1 step inside, so it kind of comes up somewhat often, but it's a really soft read. So you don't want to rely on that too much. Okay, so I discarded weird on the first round, but I didn't have a normal discard. So people aren't going to be able to use that for information. At least no more information than a standard early central tile discard, anyway. We don't want to get that yet. So 1 pin, 1 pin. Could indicate a 7 pairs over here. Again, not necessarily, but that's good. So I'm sort of signaling a Pinzu Honitsu here. So we'll see if anyone falls for it. If someone starts dropping their Pinzu tiles here, if I can call a 6, that'd be ideal. Because then I can trap weight on something that isn't Honitsu. But that doesn't let me do that. So we'll discard the 6. The reason we discard the 6 is the 9 will be easier to use as a safe tile later, and I'd rather break a pair of 9s than a pair of 6s when someone reaches, especially when the door is the 5. So we have the safety integrated. We're good there. If we can improve this weight, we will. In the meantime, we're watching this horrible attempt at half flush over here. No changes. Unfortunate, but no changes. Okay. So Pinzu, so it could be a Sozu half flush over there. That could be very dangerous for us. We have safe towel, one safe towel against the player to our left. And we
Done.
discard in. Okay. Small hand, but just fine. This is not a great hand. We see normal discards are on the table again. Nothing really indicated one way or another yet. Nothing abnormal. So this could just be a standard closed hand. Following my discards. So discarding dead honors. The player across from us is the first one to break the Nagashimangan. So, and now they're discarding on their own, so they don't want these honors. Okay. That's Sumogiri, so there's nothing to read there. 9-pin Tadashi. Okay. So they've led with the terminal and then they followed with the terminal too. So that leads me to believe that they're going for a Tenhou here. Okay. Ooh. So this was an indication that their hand was just advanced. And we will probably hard fold into this. Unless we draw a reason not to.
Dong.
Alright then. Doesn't matter. Reach my Fedora. Nothing else. Alright, so player to our right kind of is starting to tank a little bit. Main reason to watch out for that is if they start making some more desperate discards. I don't know about that 2. I don't like that 2. Never mind. That's a bad 2. Probably should have been the red dragon first.
Boom.
So we'll discard this penchant over here. I could have gone Chanta, but for how much effort you have to put into an outside hand like that, it's really not worth it. Not when it's open anyway. Okay, so first off discard for them. We have all our blocks now. We just need to watch the table, discard safely, and play efficiently. It was possible I wanted to keep that around, specifically as a safe tile against the player to our right, but I don't know if that's going to be necessary because it looks like they're on a half flush. So worst case scenario, we should have all the safe tiles we need for them. That pause could indicate that it's Sozu. So keep that in mind as we progress. Okay, so East Wind discard. Probably pretty safe across the board now. This is not exactly safe. Yeah, so really getting unfortunate draws there. Everyone looks like they're cutting their Sozu early. 8 then 5, they probably don't have a weight in the Sozu. If they do, it's probably on the low end. So we'll discard the 7 here. So they could also be on a Honitsu. They are almost certainly on a Honitsu. So probably bamboo on both sides of me. So we're going to play that safe. That's weird. And I really don't want to discard that 3. With the first overflow tile being a 2, a 3 is a pretty common weight at that point. So we're going to start dropping down some safe tiles, I think. It's just not worth it for me to push this hand. Not when I have to discard the Sozu like that. And Northwind is live.
Each.
There's 2 out there. Oh, bit of a dealing safe against the player across from us. Yeah, we'll have to take the safe tile here. Okay. So we didn't get burned on it. But our only other safe tile is this 5-so, which looks like death. We'll go ahead and drop this here, because we're pretty sure this is safe against the table now. Okay. Yes. Still can't discard this 3 bamboo. We need a safe. Oh no, we have a safe tile.
Home.
Okay, so we have the 1 safe tile we need for the rest of the game. That gives us outs to be Tenpai though. That is not the out I'm looking for, but that is safe against the table. Incidentally, so was the 6, technically, so had options either way. So 4 was the deal in, and 6-9 on the right, so no Nyaku over there or anything, but still. Ooh, 2 Dora and trash. That's going to be a fun hand to play. Okay, normal discards, 3 Dora. So everyone's discarding normally. So again, typically I want to try to push this a little bit harder if I can, but I'm not in a situation where I'm comfortable opening up this hand yet. It's just not progressed enough. So that's an abnormal discard. Why did that 2 come out? Are they fast? That's a weird follow-up. Oh, thanks. Always great to hear that. I have viewers from all over the place. Alright then. So what is this person doing? That just looks like a fast hand, unfortunately. So if it's a fast hand, we want to keep some safety around. We don't have too much in the way of options for safety, but we do have the pair of 1s over here. So that gives us an out against them, at least if we need to. These 2 players, that's okay. So this is hand is progressing a lot on the right. Wow. I want to start getting rid of these central tiles. And I kind of want to start opening my hand, but that's not very responsible. But we're doing it anyway. Who cares about responsibility? That's not what this stream is about. Okay. So discarding the extra 3, this could indicate Chitoitsu potentially, but not necessarily. Oh, jeez. Are we just going to get there with the full flush?
Each.
Oh, jeez. A little bit too late on discarding the unsafe tiles. So discarding 2-4 to reach. I think we take this here, and then we discard the unsafe tile, just so we don't deal into Ipatsu.
Home.
Excuse me just a moment. Alright, sorry about the noise. So we have to decide if we want to discard the 6 if we make it to Tenpai. It's just a little bit late on the safe tile discards. Or no, I drew this one afterwards. That 6 was there. This hand is just so big, we gotta go for it. I'm not saying this is safe by any means. There's no table read going into this whatsoever. We are just hoping that we win this instead. Oh, jeez. That's a horrible follow-up.
Don't.
Yeah. Okay, well, is what it is. We have to go for your Baimons when you get them, right? Alright then. So we are in a position where we are just a little bit over a Mangan ahead. We have a red dragon Dora. So this hand value is not great. We have a pair of south winds. Okay. So this is reasonable. I want to Tonki wait on the red dragon, so I'm going to keep the red dragon around. I think that's just the best way to go here. The good news is we have last dealer here, so we have some opportunities to make things up. We'll just have to see how difficult people make that for us. Right now I'm kind of going full speed ahead, not saving any safe tiles. We do now have a safe tile against the dealer. Incidentally, with that discard coming out from the dealer, it's more likely that this red dragon discard, or red dragon Tonki will be able to get there. Ooh. But that makes me not want a red dragon Tonki. Yeah, pushing for endgame also makes sense here. We'll just have to see what we draw. Because we don't want to give the player to our right the opportunity to catch up with the score situation like it is. So that's why we're going for a faster hand here. Or at least accepting the option of a faster hand. Drawing another red dragon is still very good though. Yeah. Okay. So they're starting to speed up. They're very fast over here. And that's 10 pi, so we'll take it. Oh, really?
Home.
He drew the pair. Ugh. That's a horrible situation. So that could be 10 pi for them. So we'll have to keep an eye on our discards and see how dangerous they are.
Each.
Done.
Okay, that worked out. So escape the danger there from the fast hand. Fast, expensive hand, and just fast hand from the dealer overall. Don't want to discard that 9 because it's the Dora. We'll hold on to it. Hopefully make a pair of them or something. Normal discards are on the table for the first time around. And repeat honors for second. Okay. This feels weird, but I am going to go ahead and discard that. Same reason that I was talking about before. I do want to push this game along. So I'm fine with just going for a Tenhou hand if I have to. Which is why I'm discarding in this direction. I will need to find a couple safe tiles to kind of hold on to at this point, I think. And if we draw the pair of 9s, we still have the opportunity to use it. If we draw the pair of 9s, we'll have 4 pairs. I want to push this game along. So this is kind of a game state read that I'm trying to work on, so nothing looks super fast right now, except for maybe the player across from us, but they don't need to be expensive if they're fast. So we'll go ahead, go this direction. Ideally pick up a safe tile at some point here that we can hold on to instead of the extra 7 so here, and just try to end this hand with a reasonable lead that they'll need a Mangan Sumo to make up. At least a near Mangan. And that's exactly what I didn't want to see. 1 East Wind out should be okay for this one. The problem is what I do after that. We have to go for it, I think.
G.
It's somewhat likely his weight is near that 4. It's like 50% or something, based on his discards. And that's near the Dora. So I'm going to say this. I shouldn't discard this, but I'm going to, because I'm greedy. That's the read I'm making on this hand right now. I want to push it because I don't want to have to think too much, but in light of that, we are not going to. All right. So what do we do after this? The 2 comes out, the 4 comes out. We don't have a safe tile. The 4 is at least safe against the dealer. So we're going to do that. Okay. And 6 is safe, 2 is safe. That helps. Okay. So we have some space now. This 8 is Suji. And the white dragon is safe enough. I'm so greedy. And I think this is okay still. But I'm not completely sold on my play here. That's safe. We're really just going for those 10 pie payments at the end here. They could help out a lot, just to make sure we don't fall behind too much. We're still within shooting distance. That's good. I will take any safe tile they want to give me right now. And I will have Heite. That's safe. Okay then. So 6 pin and 7 pin. Okay. Alright, so no risk of redealing here, even though I would love it. North wind is Dora. South is my wind. This 9 is redundant. Okay. So normal discard so far. No one dropping Dora early or anything like that, even though the player to our left could reasonably do it with their hand, or their position. That way they know if they're out somewhere and can play around it. And if they're not out anywhere, they get to kill it early. With 1 cut on the south wind, I'll go ahead and drop that here.
Home.
And there's a pawn. So that's an interesting pawn. So there's 2,300 points on the table. So a quick win is not a bad thing for any reason. Ooh. But they don't want a quick win when they're that far behind.
Each.
Ugh. Disgusting. Okay. So I can't discard the Dora because we don't see any. I've got 1 more safe tile after this one, unless someone opens one up for me. And given the point position, I have to avoid any risk that I can of dealing in. So we will. Alright then, so good news, the players pushing give us a little bit of help with everything. So this player is pushing heavily on their flush, so all of these pins are staying in hand. Even if they are safe, I'm going to try to hold on to them. Safe being if they're just discarded by left, because if I play them, then they could be discarded by the player to our right, or sorry, called by the player to our right. This 5 is completely safe. That 5 is not completely safe. Yeah, it's pretty much impossible for him to use this one. Not completely impossible, but pretty much. There's the north wind. Okay, now we can do that.
Go.
Alright. And that's the ball game. Once again, we hit 3rd on this count. Alright, let's plan on 1 more, I think. It's like the saddest new account I've ever made, just 3 thirds in a row. That's it. Luckily, I'm almost ranked in the top 500,000 players. Alright then. Okay, so normal guess win discard, dragon discard, kill the double Dora, or double honor, and hold the Dora. Follows with the red dragon. 2 is early, but doesn't necessarily mean anything. So we'll keep discarding normally. So our discards look similar as far as speed goes. And everyone else is still getting rid of honors. Okay, so where are we at? Player to our right's discarding off. Player to our left drew an honor that turn. That's 2 central tile discards. That one's near the Dora. That probably indicates they're pretty far advanced with their hand. So we react how? We have 2 other pairs in our hand, so the 2 is probably going to be redundant. So we want to get rid of dangerous tiles now if we can. And we're holding the 9s as kind of a pseudo safe tile against the early 7-pin discards. I'm going to take this. We're going to discard towards Tenhou because that gives us the most flexibility as far as what we want to do. Benefit of discarding towards Tenhou now is that the 8 will be safe against the player to our right, whereas the 9s are only safe against the dealer. And when I started that sentence, it was not safe against the dealer, so I had a point originally, but I lost it. Okay, so having these safe tiles here that I don't really need in my hand is obviously a good thing. So, okay, so 1 then 3. So if you guys saw that video on that, that means that they are potentially fishing for a ramen. That probably means that they are close to Tenpai, like 1 Shanten. Yeah, okay, there it is. And we can't make reads based on Suji necessarily. Early 7 discard means these 9s should be safe, and that might be the best option I have other than this 3. So we're going to discard that now and look for the other options in the future. 1 discard coming out of the hand is a pair, so they're going for a Tenhou probably. And we need a safe tile.
Sumo.
Alright then. Just a Bakuhon, not bad. Wow, okay. It's weird patterns today. Alright. So we're going to open this hand if we can, because the shapes are nice. But at the moment, we're looking at the table. So, north followed by north makes a lot of sense. We'll discard normally still. I don't want to give anything away by discarding the 4 right away. So drawing a 5, does that change anything? We want to keep the 5 over the... No, we don't. We want to discard the 5. Yeah, that seems fine. Still holding this east wind as kind of a pseudo-safe tile for later if we need to. So this probably looks like a very advanced hand to most people. I think I'm almost Tenpai as opposed to thinking I'm Toy Toy. But this could give it away. And we will drop that one. So we're playing for maximum efficiency here. But we will still switch to Toy Toy if we have the opportunity to. So as far as discards go, having the 9 in hand against them is good. Having them not progressing their hand yet is good. Now we have a safe tile against them, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Alright then, that's a strong start. 2 Shanten, pair of 8 Swins. No Dora. Would love to draw this without having to open. But that's usually too much to ask. Can't call that just yet. But it does give us, that gives us some flexibility for those sets right there. Alright then. Normal discards around the table, terminals into honors. That's a weird one. Okay. So keeping that around because I like the pair of 1s, but still want to keep the efficiency of the 2. And that's why. I think we'll drop that here, planning on making the 5s the pair and calling the easts. Okay, that's enough about my hand. So 8 coming out across the board means we have that safe tile there. Good situation. If we reach, as I was about to start talking about reach, I'm going to take the widest weight here. So we're going to go for that. That means we can still win off the east wind if we get it. We still get the 3 as well. So it's pretty much the best of both worlds. It's better than discarding the 4, I think. The only downside is if we get specifically the red 5 drawn. Discarded doesn't count, because I probably wouldn't have discarded if I didn't discard this 5 here. Alright, so player to our right looks to be folding as best they can. Which makes sense. The point later into a dealer reach early. I don't think we'll ever see a Dora come out from anyone at this point, because this could easily be a 5-7-9 But the 7 coming out from the player to the left is very dangerous too, right? Because it could theoretically be 9-8 still and make a lot of sense, but hard to say. So, what is everyone doing? Still 2 honor discards. Those are both pretty safe.
つも
And there's the sumo. Not ideal, but we'll take the points. Oh, good. Okay. Obviously the east would have been better, but we'll take the lead for now. That's a pretty fast hand too. You have potential for Sanshoku. Alright then. So once again, we're discarding normally whenever possible. Drawing a 4 would be fantastic, but we'll see if it happens or not. And I'm probably not going to take the reach if I draw Tenpai here. We were talking a little bit before about not taking Tenpai to try to get points or whatever. So I'm not necessarily going to reject this Tenpai just for points. I'm going to reject it because I want to improve weight. So if I do reject the Tenpai, I'm not even going to try to hold Tenpai really. So for example, if I draw one of these tiles over here, I'll probably discard the 9 to give myself the widest opportunity of improving the hand. But at the same time, we still want to discard the 7 here. Possibly should have held on to it because of the safe tile here, but we still have the 6 as the safe tile if we need it. So we got some safe tiles against these 2 players now. At least a safe tile. Now safe tiles against everyone. That's an awkward draw though. Okay. See, I don't know. Can't talk about efficiency too much here. So, this feels really bad. Apparently I should have just kept every single Suzu tile. This would have slotted in all very nicely, but is what it is. We'll keep everything going. So that doesn't help value or weight, so that goes away.
Chi.
If we can draw the 4 pin, we'll have more options too. So we'll have to see if that comes out. Right now the 3 is live, the 3 mon, and the 4 pin are completely live, so the Sanshoku is a potential. I don't want to call it though. That feels very inefficient to do. So that gives us a chance though, so we can open that up, and we're too likely to end up furry 10 if we do that, and I can't do it.
Chi.
Okay, so they're on the Sanshoku, so that means we can't discard this 1 anymore, except in very specific situations that we'll have to watch out for. I don't want to discard that because they could easily be all outside with the late terminal discards, so that's a bad idea. We'll get rid of that one now, and the 9 pin is completely safe, but we are playing defensively here. So center tiles are safe against them, and obviously their pool is safe against them. Tsuji is not safe in the slightest. So we'll keep going. Really can't discard this north wind though. No north out. If someone discards a north, I'm fine with it. But this 6 is safer than the north right now. And it's not close. A little bit of a tank from the player to our left here. So they're tanking on a 5. Interesting. I see all 3 norths. Plus the door indicator, that is. Did I say north? I meant west. That's a not great one. So we'll drop that west here. Yeah, you guys saw the pause after I discard that west wind. That's kind of what I'm talking about with Tenhou injecting pauses into things. So that 6 is pretty safe. Right? Okay, yeah. So it looks like I'm not the only one playing safe against this right now. But this 8 is not really discardable, unfortunately. That white dragon isn't really either, so we'll just do this. So you guys noticed that that pause came out from the 6 again there. I wonder if they're waiting on the 9 so. It would make a lot of sense. Or they could just have 7, 8, 9 in their hand. 4, 5. No. We'll just take the completely safe discard here. There's no point in being too coy right now. There's the 6. I was trying to figure out if that was safe, and apparently it is. But yeah, okay. So one thing worth noting, if we draw this 6 so, and we have the last discard, we still don't want to take it because we think that player to our right could be on the 6-9 weight.
Dong.
Okay, alright, and that's a good hand then. I'll have to go back and see what they were on. So that was South 3, player to our right. Not bad. We'll follow the discard here. We are still in the East round. So I'm discarding this ahead of my guest wind here, but I think that's okay. It'll look a little bit weird, but I think I'm going to hold this one as a safe tile with how this hand is shaping up. Anyway, so a couple weird discards already. Player to our right could have chosen to be in Honitsu after the first discard. So I'll get rid of this now, because that means it's not really a safe tile. So we'll need to find something else safe, potentially, if we want to hold on to something. For those of you that might just be joining in, what I'm doing right now is currently trying to focus almost exclusively on the discards for this game, just to kind of promote my thinking about what the discards are instead of trying to focus on my hand too much during the games. So 1 then 4, this is almost certainly a Pinzu Honitsu, which means I don't really want to discard this one. If I'm going to, now's the time. I will have to hold on to this West Wind though, at least until I see one come out. So the hard part here is figuring out what's going to be safe against the other players and the dealer at the same time. I don't like it, but we'll take it. If we draw this 7, we'll be in Tenpai if we discard the West. And player to our right, since we're not feeding them any Pinzu tiles, they're not progressing very quickly either. So everyone else can do it, but... Oh, that's nice. Okay, we're going to drop this. We'll see what happens. Okay.
Each.
Alright, so it's a reach. Interesting. Well, that puts me in a little bit of a weird spot. Because obviously Pinzu look awful against them. But it doesn't have to be a half flush. They might have just drawn out in different directions. So we'll have to watch out for everyone else. That's could be a push or a fold. That's safe. That's a folding tile. Okay, so that is a fold. So we could be the only one pushing. If we decide to push anyway. Ooh. Okay, so do we Dama or do we reach? I really don't want to reach this one. So we'll Dama. Waiting on 4-7. So that's in their discards. That's one of the reasons I want to Dama. If someone has one of the last 2, they are most likely going to think it's safe. And then we draw that. Oh, jeez. There's no way I can discard that. So there's roughly 12, 10 or 12 Suji live. So that 5 doesn't make sense to discard, I don't think. This hand doesn't have the value for it. I'll take the Suji discard though. Okay. So right now I'm kind of frantically searching for safe tiles. I think my best bet is going to be the 9-pin. Yeah, that's better than the dragon there. But I'm not seeing too much else to go off of here. Oh, I'm done. The 4's here. Yeah, okay. Sucks that I have to take apart my hand. It was a pretty looking hand. But I don't think it makes sense to push against the dealer with this game state right now. It'll basically push us into near last. And that's not something we want. We still have this Suji tile here. Yeah, we're just giving up all pretense of winning this hand. That 3 is safe against every player, so we're going to hold on to this one for the last discard here. And we don't want to call that and give them more opportunities to sumo. Okay. Waiting on 8-pin. Alright. 1 Dora. And not much else. Okay. So if a north wind comes out of the player to our left, it means they like their hand because they chose not to discard it and risk the redeal. Not an immediate one, at least. I am going to hold on to this green dragon as a safe tile, though. Oh, I thought I could moderate from this window. That's unfortunate. I'm going to have to ban that guy. Please don't click any links that are in the channel. Give me just a moment here. We might get some feedback from... there we go. Never mind. All right, then. There we go. Okay. Sorry that took so long, but it should be done. Thanks, Snowy. I appreciate you trying to talk him down. But... Okay, so we're in a weird position now, because these green dragons are dead, but they're also a pair. So, we want to integrate this Dora, but any reach with a good weight is fine by me right now. Because there's 1,300 points on the board. Yeah. The good news is, these are very easily safe tiles. So... we have a lot of options as far as how aggressively we play. And it looks like everyone's kind of thinking the same thing. No one's really holding back at this point. We got a lot of discards with a lot of hand progression going on right now. So this hand could just be too slow. Very easily. Which in theory means I should be opening on these 8 discards. So we call an 8, discard the 1, but then we don't have a pair. That's the only problem. We need to draw the last 7, which is not that tile. Okay. So here's where I'm starting to worry about players being Tenpai again, especially with that discard. People could easily be Dama-ten right now, and I'd have no idea. That's pretty safe though, right? Okay, yeah. I always worry after I say something like that and then see a pause. But I really don't want to discard the Dora still. So that 8's not bad. Hey, Yonner, how you doing? Okay, and we have safe tiles against just about everyone. It's just knowing when to discard them and who's looking dangerous at this point. So the 7 past here. I see a couple 6s. Is it worth it? I think it is. So we can make it to Tenpai still. Get the Ryokoku payments. The only question is, can I discard this 1? Player to our right looks like they could be on a Chitoitsu, so they could just be waiting on a pair of the 1s right now. So that's not great. We're pushing a little bit here, because 7 just passed 4, and at least these 2 players have a 1 in their discard, so it'd be Nakatsuchi. 6 is Nakatsuchi against the player I'm worried about, but again, I'm worried about them being... yeah, no. Okay. So I could have discarded the 5 there instead. It's easier to rebuild a pair, though, so that's why I'm choosing to do that. So a lot of these players discarding very dangerously here. Chances are it's a function of which room we're playing in, with it being a lower skill level than I'm used to. But I don't want to take that risk. That red dragon is alive. So we'll do that. That is safe against everyone. This 7 is also very safe right now. So that'll probably be our last discard unless we get something better, like the 6 right now. So as long as this player Sumagiris, we can discard the 6. So, yes, okay. Alright, let's see if the player to our right was on 7 pairs. Or if they're just not Tenpai at all. Yeah, okay. Good job, table. We did it. I don't know why they're discarding that dangerously if they're not near Tenpai. Well, this hand is a joy. So our only real chance to complete this hand here is going to be to call the green dragons. So at this point I'm just going to go ahead and discard efficiently. 7 isn't really enough to start a Kokoshi hand or anything like that. So it doesn't make sense to push for that side. Okay. Yeah, again, just don't want to give away anything. No Kokoshi. You don't Kokoshi with 7. I mean, with, let's see, what's the numbers again? 9 is 3%, 8 is 0.3%, I think. So it'd follow that 7 is 1 more removed from that. So yeah, 0.03% Kokoshi. I think I'll pass on that chance. But we've been drawing pretty well, at least. Okay. So both these honors are live. So we'll hold on to them for now. Kind of wait to see where people land with them. Okay, there's the white. Okay. So 3 then 9. So probably have a shape near the 9. We can go ahead and discard this now. We'll take a fast win if we can. My concern is that we'll end up contesting people for the fast win, because everyone else seems pretty fast too. I like having the south wind. I like that. So we'll go ahead and drop that. Reason I'm not dropping in the other order right now is the 3 is actually safe against someone, as opposed to the 1. If I have to fold, I'll fold, but
Chi.
We'll see from there. Chi. So their hand looks very Tanyawi. We don't want that. Okay. So ideally we start getting our calls here. But unfortunately that doesn't seem to be happening yet.
Home.
Okay, that's dangerous. Why are they palming that? Okay, we're gonna take this. We're gonna discard safe this turn. Okay. So with the discards and how they're coming out, this 4 should be okay to drop. So that can become our pair. We can discard this 3, which is safe against the player to our right. Or we can discard this 6, because that's a lot of Dora. Yeah. We'll take the risk. So obviously best discard for us right now is someone dropping like the red 5. I don't think that's likely to happen though. So that 8 doesn't look too bad. I still don't know what the player on my right's doing though, because the Yakuhai are all dead except for, no, all the Yakuhai are dead. So it's got to be a Chanta hand. It's really the only option. You know, I often say if I could see the wall, I would have so many more Kogoshis than I do. But I think that goes for just about any hand. Okay, so 4 comes out. So if this 4 passes, it's safe. But as it is, it's not necessarily. That's good. So the 4's safe here, and I can't imagine it's going to deal into anything here, and this doesn't look too dangerous. So this is fine. That's not great. Take this 3 discard now.
Go.
Oh, come on. Okay, that one I didn't expect. I don't know why. Why didn't I expect that? I should have expected that. That was just bad. Oh well. Yeah, that was a mistake. I think I'm doing a lot of talking and paying attention to what's going on, but not retaining a ton of it. Because I remember the 3 being safe, but it was the player to my right, not the player to my left. So, Yeah. In chess, they call that blinking, which, not really player to player, but noticing a move and then completely forgetting that it's there, basically, is blinking. So it's never a good thing. But the good news is, even though we're in 4th, no one has a winning threshold yet. So we might have some time still. That's fine. Okay. So holding onto the door here, really need to find some value. If I can door a Tonki, I will. But it seems unlikely with 2 pairs in our hand already. The real question is if I take a no-value reach. 3 pairs? Not really much there yet. If we draw another pair, it can make sense to hold on to the ones we do have. And I'm focusing on my hand again. Focus on the board. Come on. Okay. That's not bad. So the player on our left is progressing somewhat nicely. This was a Sumogiri tile, so it doesn't indicate anything at all. Interesting. So 2 tile Tadashi 1. So they could be close to Tenpai across the board there. Is discarding 1, 2. Well, you discarded early anyway, but it's possible it's an indicator of Tenpai too. This was Sumogiri, right? So no indicator there. Player to our left tanking and discarding that. So when the 5 comes out, usually that entire suit is safe. Not to say it's 100% by any means, but what am I doing here? I don't have much in the way of options, so I think the best is going to be the South Wind. I mean, again, Jigoku Tonki, if they got it, they got it. But I don't really want to discard these upper Pinzu, but nothing else is safe. I don't want to discard the Dora, so I guess this 8 is our best bet. Okay, they passed. We'll take it. The nice thing about pushing dangerous tiles there, if you're going to push a dangerous tile, push a pair or an Onko, because then you have extra tiles to discard once it passes. In most cases, anyway. There's reasons not to do that. We do have more safe tiles now. If they keep giving us these safe tiles, maybe we can make it to 7 pairs or something, but we're still pretty far away right now. Yeah. 9 is safe. Okay. That's a push. So we have to watch out for this player too. So that means following the discards the safest thing you can do, followed up by these discards. So we'll likely discard the 1s next. So there aren't too many situations where you discard a red 5, especially that early and like not reach immediately, just in general. So you can do it to trap. So if you have 1, 3, 5 and the red 5, discarding the red 5 makes it very likely that the 2 is going to come out. In this case, the 8 would be more likely. But obviously we can see that's not the case. But you generally don't wait on 3 or 7, because anything that waits on 3 or 7, yeah, you can take a pinch on. Once again, that's a very bad weight though. So 3 would have to be 4 or 5, in which case you'd hold on to the 5. Obviously the 5 itself is safe, and then the 4, 6 kind of follow the same logic as the 3, 5. And then 2, 8 or Suji from it. So really the only option there is the trap weight. And the reach didn't come out right away, so it doesn't make sense. Okay, so 3, 6. Yeah, so it was near the 7. That 8 was a very dangerous discard. There wasn't much I could do at that point, though. Well, this hand sucks. Again, the good news is I'm not in last right now. Oh, good. We will take that. This is a little better. Could go for a fast Tenhou here. We'll have to look at the board, look at what we draw, and decide from there. But so with the 5 discards, so then the other real option is a 1, 4 weight. So when you see the red 5 come out, 1-4 is the most dangerous in the suit. 1-4 or 6-9 in that situation. Obviously, it's anything but a hard read, but a lot of the stuff we do in Mahjong ends up being very marginal. So there's a few reasons I don't play Mahjong Soul. One of them is the player base is stronger on Tenhou. So I made it to master on Mahjong Soul quickly. It was like less than 200 games, half of which were East rounds, half of which were South rounds. So that's one part of it. The other part is the games are so much shorter on here. An average game for me on Tenhou is something like 25 or 30 minutes, if I remember correctly. I can look up those stats in a second here. But on Mahjong Soul, it's like 45 minutes minimum because they added so many animations to everything. So while the client's prettier and everything, sure, I just want to play Mahjong. Like, that's really what it comes down to. I might be a nerd or whatever you want to call me, but it's just, I want to play faster games. There's no point in having all the extra animations when the games take so much longer, in my opinion. So I want to push this and I want to hold on to a safe tile. So I don't think this 8's doing much for me. Yeah, exactly. I play in one league right now. It's called the Jinja Cup. It's a Chinese league and they play on Mahjong Soul because it's a Chinese client. So at least I assume that's why they do it. But I like the league. The league has a lot of great people in it, a lot of competition, but I can't stand the client. That's a good draw. Yeah, exactly. But no, if that's your thing, don't feel bad or anything like that. It's not, everyone has their thing with it, and it's just not for me. Yeah, 30 minutes for an East game is long. Oh, that's awful. Jeez. Now it's going to be real hard for me to complete my hand. Do I call? There's no way I do this, right? No, we gotta pass that. That is not safe. So we'll discard our worst set. Hold on to this white dragon, see if we can draw another one. Somehow get lucky with a pawn, maybe. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say it's casual. This is gonna sound this might sound very elitist. It's just not Japanese. So the Tenhou client is pretty much inundated with Japanese players who have been playing Mahjong for pretty much all their life. Again, that's not everyone by any means. I play on Tenhou, I'm not a Japanese player. But that's one of the things that really drives up that skill rating is that Japanese players, on average, are way better than American players or really any other country. China, Korea can sometimes give them a run for their money, but it's just so much more widespread in Japan to play Japanese Mahjong. Who would have thought? Okay, so 4,600 points is what we're after here. So reach pin Fedora is not enough. Oh, that's unfortunate. But that might be the best we can do with this hand. If we get lucky, we can get Sanshoku as well. But yeah, if you ever get the opportunity to watch Japanese pros, they're on an entirely other level compared to pretty much all American players. There's a reason that we only have, one active pro in the Japanese circuit who's American. It's not a very good statistic for us. Not that other countries have too many more, but it's just not a good indicator that we're very skilled there. Yeah, absolutely, there's a Japanese server, but from what I've seen anyway, Tenhou is just a lot more commonly going to be people from Japan. Okay, so anyway, we have a couple safe tiles for anyone we need them against, so that's a good situation. We can switch this up to Tenhou, Pinfu in theory. Tan Pin Dora reach would be enough to overtake second. But I'm worried about the dealer. I don't think their hand is going to be 5,800 points. They're not going to be trying for it. But it's a very easy number to accidentally hit, is the problem. Because just having a couple casual Dora mixed in there will hit it. So we're going to discard this for now. player in last could easily Dama us out of the game too. So I'm pretty much just folding here, I think. I just don't think anything makes sense to push at this point. We don't have the value. We didn't draw the efficiency.
Each.
That's a reach. If the dealer deals into this, that's really bad for us, and they are incentivized to. Shoot. So now I'm in a situation where I almost have to force a Tenhou, but I can't. This is a bad situation. It's a good draw. For them. For me, for them, if that makes sense. Okay, so they're also folding. I mean, at this point, we just have to hope they don't make their hand. I think that's the only option left. Discard as safely as we can, and go from there. It's reasonable to try to discard into the dealer here, as long as you can stay safe from player across. Because now a 5800 hand doesn't break us either. But we have enough safe tiles right now that it's fine. We don't even really want to push for Tenpai because it doesn't do anything for us. Okay, so 6-pin is completely safe. That's going to be our drop, probably. I think so. It's not. Yeah, it is. Okay, we're good. And we just need to find one more safe tile. Right now it's the 6-so. And that looks like what it's going to finally be. Yeah. Do we have another one? We do. We have the 7-so. So if he can drop something, I can pull. Oh no, sorry. I miscounted draws. Yeah, and in Tenhou, like with this score situation, they don't need to, right? Like they are fine with just playing defensively. You don't need to Sashikomi. If they weren't the dealer, then absolutely you want to, because if the dealer, ends up chasing the reach, then they can get a bunch of points and start catching up to first. But as dealer, it never makes sense to Sashikomi on Tenhou. But yeah, so that's it. I think I'm gonna have to call it a night there, mainly just to break this streak. We might try this one again though. I might try streaming a little bit more often here, and we'll have to kind of see how things end up. So I want to thank you all for joining me. I will be posting these on YouTube, probably cutting out the first game because of the mic issues there, but we'll kind of just go from there. So let me know, post a comment and everything if you're interested in seeing more live streams like this, and I'll see all of you later. Have a good one.